The love of track and field, which was my natural and first sport, that was the thing I wanted to do most.
Jimmy Breslin wrote a famous article that was in the Saturday Evening Post. How many people in any sport has that been said, that the person is going to destroy the game?
The legend grew at the University of Kansas. Wilt was a conference champion in the high jump and played a little basketball too.
And here comes this phenomenon showing everybody what the future is.
He was just a teenager, but he was already a huge star.
Record sellout throngs turned out to watch the widely heralded Chamberlain.
Every time you opened up the paper, you would read something about Wilt Chamberlain.
He was changing how basketball games were played in the mid-50s.
Stylistically, he was unprecedented. There was nobody who was like Wilt. You know, this was the first real athlete, 7 feet and above.
It's impossible to describe. There was no way of stopping him. In our gym, he could run the length of the gym in 4 or 5 steps and dunk the ball. He scored 90 points in 28 minutes in the high school game, and he had 15 points in 1 minute.
And in 10 minutes, I scored like 62 points. And now 62 points in 10 minutes, I laugh about it because, Jesus, that's a lot of points, a lot of time getting up and down the court, especially when the team you're playing in is trying to freeze the ball.
We would play a team like Oklahoma State, and they might pass the ball 40, 45 times before they'd attempt a shot, realizing that anytime you ran with the team that Wilt was on, that you're probably going to get blown out pretty good.
The other coaches around the country said, if we're going to play Kansas and we're going to play Wilt Chamberlain, we're going to have to find out some way to stop this guy from scoring points.
When he came to Kansas, the rumor got out and scared the daylights out of everybody in the country. They said he could stand at the free throw line and just leap and stop, which under the old rules would have been legal.
Chamberlain was recruited to Kansas. And of course, everybody in the conference then said, well, they practically conceded the 3-year championships to Kansas. Freshmen were not eligible for varsity ball at the time. But I went over to see the freshman varsity game. They played it in Old Hoke Auditorium, which is a terrible facility on the University of Kansas campus, because everybody was talking about Chamberlain, this big guy. So I went over to scout the game, and I actually saw this, and I think to this day people don't believe it. But he wasn't at the top of the circle, but he was about 3 steps behind it on a free throw, and he ran to the free throw line, took off and dunked the ball. And in the rules at that time you could. So I think I could have been very definitely instrumental, because I was chairman of the Basketball Coach Rules Recommendation Committee. And I explained to the coaches at the convention what I saw and said that something's going to have to be done so that we don't have guys that get to the point where guys can dunk the ball on the free throw line.
I came to the NBA as a defensive player. I used to like to go up and grab balls around the air. So everyone was afraid of my defensive game, more so than my scoring.
Wilt would not only block your shot, Wilt could go up in the air and catch your shot, which was like, ooh.
He was so big and so overwhelming that nobody could ever deal with him on a basketball court.
So they would put 4 guys around me on defense, and then when they got the ball, they would hold it. But even with them holding the ball, a lot of our games being 45 to 50 points, I was still averaging 30 points a game. But I didn't care about the average as much as I wanted to get out there and play. I want to run and do the things that I thought basketball players were supposed to do.
So after his junior year, he left Kansas and joined the most famous team in the world, the Harlem Globetrotters.
The Trotters are a team of basketball wizards featuring one of the most talked about players in years, 7-foot Wilt Chamberlain.
He gloried in going to the Globetrotters because he could show that he could play that kind of basketball. Wilt wanted always to exhibit his diversity.
Playing in the NBA is going to be entirely different for you, though. You'll be playing for the first time where they have the man-for-man rule. They can't zone you anymore. How do you feel about that?
Actually, that makes me quite happy. I've always been zoned all through basketball, even high school, college, all the
with the exception of 1 year I played with the Trotters, and I'm really looking forward to the 24-second rule under one man. You know, basketball fans are waiting to see how you're going to do in the NBA, especially against players of great capabilities, fellows like Bill Russell, for instance, of the Boston Celtics. Now, you will be playing man for man, as I mentioned. Do you feel that you are ready for this? You've been ganged up on pretty much through your collegiate career, and with the Trotters, do you think the Trotters, for instance, helped you any? Well, I actually do. I think there will be a period of orientation for me to come like it is for every newcomer in the NBA, but I think in the long run I'll be able to handle myself man-to-man with almost anyone in the league.
Coach Bog Allen calls Chamberlain already one of the greatest players I've ever seen.